This is The Creative, a podcast of authentic discussion with industry pros.
Yeah, let's start by, I don't know, tell us your name, who you are, and what kind of work that you do.
My name's Dane. I am an editor on reality television.
Cool. So you're an editor for reality TV. What's that like?
A lot of time in an office. You go into a big work factory and there's just a bunch of warm bodies all working. We do, as this upcoming season's 20 episodes, 22 episodes of 2-hour episode, 22-hour episodes. So if you think about it, we started maybe end of summer, late summer. We started this season with 5 editors, 6 AEs, and 6 story producers. And we will go all the way into the beginning of summer, probably. And we're doing 20 feature-length documentaries, essentially.
That's a shit ton of content.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Right.
So, like, you have to be pretty organized to handle that. You have to have a team to kind of keep that stuff moving.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, what does that look like for you? Because, like, I've been an independent for so long. A lot of my editing is, like, I'll get an email and says, I kind of want something, and I'll have some details, and we'll have a conversation, and then I just go. Like, that's not your world. Like, how much is already decided for you by the time that you're sitting down and working in your tools? Not enough.
I mean, there's either not enough or too much, right?
Okay.
Nothing's ever right because you're there and you're pissed off and you're just trying to get this stuff done and you're like, why don't I have this, or why did you give me just because? But no, there's a lot that you have a lot of creative freedom in some aspects, and then you get tied down in other ones, and you have your battles. But overall, you have the executive producer, and nothing matters except for getting what he wants.
Does your executive producer watch everything that you guys make?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. He's very involved, and you know, he's has a show that's been running for a while and doing well, and has multiple shows, and he's done well as himself, and so I think that you just have to kind of respect that and defer to it. No matter, you can do as much as you want, but in the end, you're trying to get out a product that is of somebody else's imagination or mind. You know, you're doing this for them, for their vision. It's not yours. You can only take little pieces of it to be your vision.
So if you're taking little pieces to be your vision, what's the size? Because I've had friends that have edited in process before, and sometimes they're really excited about getting like a single line of dialogue in, or they were able to marry a really nice shot against a nice edit that brought through a transition. Like the victories that have been described to me are kind of
that's it,
technical and small. Like,
right. Those are them. You
okay.
know? And you know, if you're somebody that cuts a rough cut, and then you see, you know, 70% of your scenes, or you know, in the lock cut with the same cuts, you're like, yeah, then that means I did a good job. Like, you know what I mean? Like I did it as well as anybody could have, because it hasn't changed through.
So out of those kind of moments,
those are your victories. Those are your small victories. It might not be like I made this amazing blah blah blah. It's more like I did great work. You know, you're happy with the work you do.
You take those small victories and you pile those together, and that's what you make your reel from. That's what you make your portfolio from, right? Or how does it work for you?
I don't know. You know, I don't really even have a reel.
Okay.
I've just gotten jobs because of who I've worked with, who's vouched for me, and who's seen my work. It's just from people I've known. I have been at this company for 5 years now, 4 or 5 years. And so and since I started there, I've at maximum had 4 months off. And I've always had side gigs and worked other stuff. So during those 4 months off, I was still working other jobs. I mean, 4 months off from Megalo Media, from that company, you know what I mean, in a year. So say I work 8 months year round. Then those.
I was about ready to say, like, you've had like 16 weeks off in 5 years.
No,
Okay.
Right. So 4 months a year at most. So at 1 year it might be a month. And then the last 2 years I've been a staff member. So.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's been about 5-6 years. So 4 years as a contractor and 2 years as staff.
So it's still that's a long time under the contract game to transition over to staff. Do a lot of people make that migration? Is there like a process for that, or is it just you created enough value in yourself that
maybe
that they want to keep you?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. I don't know if I want to get into this, but basically, if you're staff, you're going to be paid less than a contractor, right? Because you have security and you have benefits and you have paid days off. And
Right.
So there's two ways, a lot of people don't want to take the staff position. I just thought I should.
Yeah, the benefits and the stability made sense.
In that time, everybody that I've worked for at editing they've seen my work. I haven't had to have a reel to show them. I've worked with them in some capacity, whether it's on an independent project or through Megalo Media or whoever, and so their side gigs happen that way for me, and I just don't have a reel. I haven't had to branch out yet.
Yeah. So if we rewind a couple years back to when you were actually getting placed at Megalo Media and you started that work there, did you have a reel back then, or was it still just kind of you knew the right folks and they trusted you from past relationships and all that?
I had some. I did have a reel. When I graduated college, I had a reel, right? So I had like all the stuff that I did through college, and then I did stuff after, and I put more stuff. And instead of a reel, it was more just a series of, hey, these are, I music video, did a live show, I did blah, 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 blah.
Almost like case studies.
On YouTube, it would be like, here's links to stuff that I've done, right? Because most of my resumes were through email.
Did you have to write up a lot about the work that you did? It was like, here's a music video, and they just kind of got it because they'd been making it? Or did you talk about...
I don't know. I probably didn't even really find any jobs from it.
Fair enough.
What I did have was I got a job working for this guy out here in Austin, and it was a live TV show, like hosted show, and it was in the Highland Mall before. The Highland Mall's gone now, but
where ACC has done the whole rebuild. Right. Yeah.
So it was there, and it was just wild. The whole thing was just insane, and I ran camera and I edited for it, and I never got paid. Like I was totally gonna get paid, right? Like for the longest time, like it worked so much, and use my own equipment and all this, whatever. But that was just kind of how I did things. Was I would do stuff for free, and through that you meet the right people. You make your own stuff and you create your reels along the way. So I mean, they got me little jobs here and there, but in the end, it was working on independent, fun projects, and meeting other people who are working in the industry and them getting me a job because they can see through those fun projects that I know how to do I knew what to do.
So to draw that thread just a little bit more clearly, that would be that you worked on like an indie film with so-and-so, and then that person would go on and work on a project and get recommended to someplace stable, and then they would remember you, and when the opportunity showed up, they would give you a call.
Right.
So, something exactly. To that effect. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I work on a music video with a friend. That friend has another job. They need somebody. Hey, you were good. Do you want to work over here? Yeah, you go work over there, and you sink or swim. You do well, and people like you, and you get more jobs, right?
Yeah.
Or you suck, or you're an asshole, and you have to start over. It doesn't mean you're done. Like if you fail, right? Like whatever.
You got to keep going.
You just have to go, okay, well, I guess I'll never work here again unless I get better, and they know I can get better, and I come back. It's just whatever. People fail all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, people forget about it in 2 years, and maybe you get hired.
That's interesting. I think we forget that if we fuck up on a gig, like it gets ingrained that it's like that's like written in law. You failed there. Don't ever look back. But I think you're right that, you know, after about 2 years, nobody remembers.
Right.
Nobody cares.
If it wasn't too big.
Yeah, if it wasn't too big.
I'm sure, you know, because, well, that's also the thing that you hear about is the people that lost their job or, you know, they never were able to get hired again. And, you know, those are the people you see go out in flames for the production companies that you work for.
Yeah,
and
something.
You're like, and they never worked there again, but probably working somewhere else. You
Yeah,
know, you just kind of
yeah.
think.
Well, and then there's all that emotional stress that bubbles up, and somebody will do something fucking crazy
Right.
and leave a place.
Right.
Yeah, flip a table or something stupid. Okay, so when you were doing a bunch of your independent projects, and, you know, sometimes they would work out well, and sometimes they would work out bad, and you were just building up your network. How did you? Because not all that shit pays well, and it demands a lot.
Pay at all.
No, and it demands so much of your time. Like,
You lose
how did you
money.
make ends meet? Yeah, like, because you've still got to get a job somewhere. You've still got to, like, that's a real struggle to take so many risks over and over and over again, and figure out how to make rent. Like, what did that look like for you?
I was a cook.
You were a cook.
Yeah, I did that in college, and you know, paid for college at least the last year by cooking in a restaurant. So I just came out here and figured I'd do the same. I worked in decent restaurants. You know,
Yeah.
made okay money.
Did you hop to kitchens a lot, or did you find like one place? And it's like I can work here.
I go to a place that's not bad and I stay.
Yeah.
I just don't care. It's just easy enough for me. If I moved around more, I'd probably be making more money.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I could be like jumping around job to job and making a bunch of money and hustling, but sometimes that shit just ain't worth it.
Right.
That's probably why I'm never gonna come out with a great film or anything, but you know, maybe I'll make some shit that makes me happy. So it's like that, you know, those are your trade-offs.
Yeah, but
you know,
even,
do you want to be like how happy do you want to be? Like, do you want to be super stoked that you just made the dopest shit ever, but then like the rest of your life sucks?
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. I'm just kind of.
Well, I mean,
bullshit.
I think that's some truth, because we've worked together on independent projects, and I think that there's some truth to that. Is like you've got to give so much to make those things work, and it's still a bit of a gamble. That you're right. Like you can way overextend on any given project trying to make that real.
Yeah.
And then you look behind you, and it's like your girlfriend left you. You're about ready to like not make rent because you called off work too many days in a row. You've got this mountain of footage, and a hard drive just failed, and now a third of your work is gone. And fuck, like I can't tell anyone. You know, all those things come up, and you know, you're working in a kitchen. I worked IT work, you know, and it's just figuring that shit out. It's tough.
Yeah, and so then I filmed legal depositions.
Yeah.
For a year, maybe a year and a half. You just go to law offices and record people talking and shit. It was actually a pretty chill job. Like I'd work 25, 30 hours a week. Did all kinds of fun stuff. I mean, and I made decent money, but my rent was like $300 a month, so I didn't even need to make money.
Yeah.
Honestly, if your rent is $300, my rent was $300. My utilities were like $125 a month. $425. I could make that in a week, and then the rest is fun money and saving and whatnot. So like, I was living on Easy Street. I was when Austin was real nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I was living in a decent part. It was, you know, nice house. I was in a house, 4-bedroom house with 3 dudes. So, but then you know, you still want to do more. So then that's when I got the job at Megalo while doing independent projects and doing recording depositions.
Now, another thing that I know is that you've hopped around in the software a little bit. Like the programs that you're using today is not necessarily the software that you trained in with when you were in college and got out into the working world. You know, I know specifically right now you're using Avid quite a bit, but you were using Final Cut for a while before, and that you've dabbled in Premiere. Like, so there's all this shit that we're dealing with and just kind of figuring out normal jobs and living lean and getting your practice in and networking and all these things. And then your software keeps changing. Like, What was that like for you transitioning from what you knew into Avid? You know, I know Megalomedia went through its own evolution with that, but like, what did that look like for you as a person? Like, in the middle of everything, all of a sudden you've got to change your entire mindset about editing.
I don't know. I remember I had a conversation with an editor, and I asked him, because we were both cutting on Final Cut Pro, and we were switching to Avid, and he said it's the same shit. You know, he's like, we're doing the same shit, just a different way, and you just got to figure it out. And once you figure it out, you get faster, and it's the same shit. So, the nice thing is, there's not too many.
Yeah.
You know, Final Cut Pro is awesome. That was my baby. You know, that was.
And we're talking about Final Cut 7, not.
Yeah. So, you know, I cut my first documentary. I cut all my first things came from that, you know? So that was what I knew the most, and it was just super comfortable. And especially when I got into the industry and I learned more of how it works and the tricks. So it was just, I loved it. And then when it stopped, I went to Avid and I hated it for a second. And then it was good. I love it now. I think it's great.
How many years do you have in Avid at this point? From when you had to switch over to today?
I think 3.
3?
Yeah, 3. And I would never go back to Final Cut I would stay with Avid forever at this point. There's so many things they could do better, obviously. But Premiere's fine, but I'm not as fast in Premiere. The thing that Premiere has is it's easy. You know, like, it does a lot of work for you. Like, it does a lot of good things. And the way, their whole package of you know, Audition and After Effects. And I don't really even know that much shit about, but I would like to, but it's there. You know what I mean? And how it connects to your editing software is just, it's killer.
Well, and that's the thing that I think is really interesting, because we've known each other for a while, and we've had a lot of intersections in how we network and the small projects that we work on. But the fact that you're within a very disciplined process versus myself, which is much more like self-sufficient, like, you can go super fucking deep and narrow on Avid, whereas I have to be kind of way more shallow and, like, in Photoshop as much as I'm in Premiere. I even have to use Final Cut 10 a little bit now, just because of its compatibility with iPhone footage, you know, to be able to ingest onto the computer. So that you know, I have to spread that network out a little bit, and that's really interesting and different to me, that you're like, dude, I don't even have to touch Photoshop. I got a guy for that. Like, you get to go so far into just editing.
I say that, but I that's a hindrance. You know what I mean? Like, I should know more of that, because and that's one of the things why, you know, I know how to, it's not that I don't know how to use it. It's that it's just not in my everyday vernacular right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not in my tool bag, because I don't have to use it. Right? If I had to use it, give me a week and then I'm back to being proficient, sufficient. You know what I mean? Like, I can, I know what I'm doing. But the thing is even the side gigs I'll get that are always on Premiere, and every small gig is on Premiere. Like, Avid's expensive. You know, Avid's for doing 22-hour documentaries.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
specific.
Like,
yeah.
You know, so. But I can still cut faster with it. But the amount of time that it would take to set up the project takes, I mean, that's a little bit of a while, especially if you're sending drives or dealing with people in not the same city as you or location as you. Oh, it can become a mess. That's where Avid's not good, and Premiere is
well, and
it's easy.
It's funny because you talk about it, just the effort that you need to spend setting up a project as being kind of a little bit important. I'll definitely have contract clients where I'll have everything come in by about like noon on the first day of maybe like only like a 3-day project, you know, something relatively short. And they'll want to know like when they can see like just a first assembly draft of things. And I'll typically talk, it's like, well, you know, late in the day tomorrow. And they're like, well, aren't you going to start right now? It's like, Yes, but it's going to be like 5 hours of just setting it up,
Right.
so you can move fast on the editing, and the rest of it's quick.
Right.
And they like that's wait. It takes you 4 hours to copy files across a computer. It's like, well, I mean, we can really get into the weeds, but yeah, it does, because you got to make sure it's placed in the right spot. Your programs launch. Your updates aren't fucky with some of your plugins. And no, that's interesting. I mean, it's the same shit either way. Let me see what else is really interesting to talk about. So when you're editing in reality shows and you've got story producers helping you find the narrative, and you've got assistants that can help you pull clips, and you've got kind of this framework of people making your life a little bit easier, how much of your editing is about finding narrative and finding kind of that thread of purpose inside of it? Like, how are your storytelling skills versus just like the technical engineering discipline? Like, what's that balance look like?
Repeat the question.
Yeah, man, shit. So that was asked poorly. So, like, we know as editors, like, one of the things that we are asked to learn is to how to tell a story.
Yeah.
We are also asked to learn how to be really good at software.
Yeah.
For you and doing the reality TV, how much of it is telling story versus, you know, like how strong do you have to be in that to work within the system?
I think you have to be pretty strong. You know, you're trying to convey a message through what a story they're telling you throughout months, you know, a year. Throughout a year, these people are telling a story, and they talk a lot. So through all that talking, you have to help create what their story is. And plenty of people are involved in it, but I would say that the executive producer really is the one that hones it down, and our job as editors is to help tell his story, and the character story, and the executive producer story of the characters, you know, his vision. You're creating the visual, mm-hmm. right? Because a lot of that is the mind and the vehicle in which the direction of the story is going to go. So you are creating the visual that connects with the story. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you have to still like do you study narrative a lot in and through your work to stay sharp with that?
I've been watching the Great British Baking Show recently, okay. And it's awesome. And it's like that's like, you know, like it was that and like the Bourdain shows. Those are like the dream shows to work on, where you get to cut kind of beautiful shit, and it's fun and you know, the visuals are great, the story's great, like that, you know. So yeah, I watch those and I'm like, yeah, I want to be like that, you know, like I want to do that. Like, so like there are still like other reality type.
Have you seen some of the promos? Because we're in Austin, so we're kind of in close proximity to it. But have you started to see the promos bubbling up from Planet Slow Mo that Rooster Teeth is putting out? It's like the slow motion guys, right? And they turned it into like a travel show. And so they go to different zany locations and they do their slow mo footage. And it's like, it was just, I mean, when you were talking about the Bourdain shows where it's just like you're cutting really beautiful looking stuff, like, is it the travel part of it and just being in these beautiful landscapes, or is it like cool gimmicks? Like,
well, as an editor, I wouldn't get to go there.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. So it's just like, as long as that footage is just kind of buttery and looks great, and you have a lot of choices.
Yeah, there's something that's really fun. Yeah, that's fun. You know, that, especially because of the show that I work on is not aesthetically pretty, you know. It's gritty.
Yeah, it's
right?
a raw show. Yeah,
it's a real, like, it's real. You know what I mean? Like it's not like there's reality shows out there that aren't really real.
Yeah,
you know?
I've been, you know, over the many jobs I've been PA for a lot of stuff, and I've been out on sets where they'll like literally tell people to say lines. And it's like, okay, this is, real people doing pretend situations, and we're calling it reality.
Right.
But it's heavily scripted kind of at its core. But you're right. What you do is very honest shit. Like, it's tough material.
Yeah. So when I love working on music videos and I love working live music, that kind of stuff is just fun. It's just fun making it. It's fun fun making stuff that goes to a good beat and like just looks pretty and hits hard, and that's fun. So like those little packages you get to do, little jobs, like being here in Austin, working South by Southwest gigs. It's music, you're cutting music videos, you're cutting fun fan type, happy shit. It's fun. I get a kick out of that. It's you go film something yourself and you make something and you like it, that's great. And somebody else films it and you make it and you like it, that's fun too.
Yeah, totally. And it sounds like you've got like a really good balance going on, because you work on a real show, you've got your TV credits, you're putting in your hours. Are you going for a union yet?
No, they don't have that out here.
Fair enough. But I mean, you would be doing, if you were.
They do, but
yeah,
not. I mean,
it's not strong.
It's not the company. No, I don't know I don't know shit about it.
But if you were in Los Angeles, for example, the work that you're doing in television, if you wanted to make a union career choice, you could do that if you were in a city where that was strong. I mean, what I'm saying is like you're checking off all the right boxes for the career.
Right.
Do you want to continue your maturity into reality television? Or are you hoping that this becomes like a middle career stepping stone to something else later on?
That's a big question.
Or are you like, I mean, yeah, or like, do you even like give a shit right now? Is it just things are good and I'm fine?
Fuck. That's like, that one hits to the soul. That's one of those where I go, oh shit, I don't know. I wish I did. I don't know. Like, some part of me is like kind of just flying, but I just feel like whatever, I'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think
I'm working now. I know that my work's good. I know I can do good work. I know I can go elsewhere. I'm still getting like I need to keep learning and keep progressing and have confidence in myself, and then I feel like the rest will kind of follow, right? Like, I'm probably not doing enough, but at the same time, I'm just comfortable and I'm kind of happy, and hopefully it works, and I think it will. And like, and at the end of the day, it's like, if it doesn't, I could figure something else out.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I can. Like, fuck it, I can.
That's
right?
like half the battle right there. Is just being like, I don't know what's coming next. There's still uncertainty in my life, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's important to get at least that far.
I know enough people that I'm friends with, that I'm colleagues with, and they know I do good work, and we respect each other, and we help each other get jobs. And I just don't think that I've looked far enough ahead, as in the sense of, am I going to move to LA? Am I New York, Chicago? Am I going to try and start a company of my own, a production company?
Right.
Because those are all things, you know what I mean? And fuck, I don't know.
Would you leave Austin if you had to? Or
yeah,
you,
for sure.
Yeah, you don't care.
I mean, my family's in California. That's where I'm from. So...
Because there are folks that come to the city and they're like, "This is it. I'm in love."
Oh, I'd love to stay here.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like that. One of the reasons I took the staff job. I want to stay here. I won't like it here, but at the same time.
But you'll follow the work versus staying in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part.
That makes sense.
Who knows? I mean, what if I don't want to do this anymore? At some point, I want to do something else. Whatever. That's tight.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully, like. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
all kinds of crazy people do crazy shit. Why can't I?
Yeah, I mean, would you go so radical as to do something like open up a restaurant and get back in a kitchen? No,
I don't think so. Not unless I had fat money.
Yeah. Do you think
I would do that shit as a hobby if I had fuck you money?
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, you want to do a restaurant? I kind of remember I love that shit. Like,
yeah,
let's just do it.
Do you think you would find yourself editing something less conventional? Like if video continues to converge in technology, would you find yourself hopping over into video games if they found a way to utilize editing skills over there? Would you?
Oh,
would
yeah.
You want to, like I mean, so you don't know shit, right? But as far as where you want to go with your future, but is there type of content you would never want to work on versus stuff that you'd be really excited about? Or are you pretty agnostic?
Yeah, I'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might have had like this fucking gleam in my eye when I was in college, like, fuck you rules, like I get to do what I want and I'm gonna make great shit. And no, man, I'm not that tight. Like whatever, like I like the stuff I do, but I know that like I'll never fucking hit this badass audience. Like I'll never just make the dopest shit. Like that's fine with me. Like I'm okay with that now. So and at that point that means like I work. Yeah. You know, I work in what I know, and I'm going to do what I know, and I'm going to try and make money. I like golfing. I like playing tennis. I like playing racquetball. I like playing basketball. I like playing volleyball. I like hiking. I wouldn't mind fucking foraging for mushrooms. Like, yo, sometimes, like, I just want to do all that shit, right? So if I can work, that means I can do that other shit, too. And so that's kind of what it's about for me.
Is that how you got okay with, like, that? Because I think when we all go to school, it's like you kind of... The reasons you go to school is because you want to be the next Spielberg or the next Scorsese or something like that. I want to be
Spike Jonze. Yeah. I skateboard. I still skate. And, you know, so, like, and, like, I still watch skate videos and snowboard videos. And I'm like, that's the dream, right? Yeah. That was always my dream, was to be a professional snowboarder or cameraman or whatever. Like, I just wanted to do that shit, right? So that didn't come true. Like, that sucks. But maybe I can get back into that. Or maybe, like, whatever. My point is, like, I'm going snowboarding in the middle of next month. I'm playing golf later today. Probably play tennis with my girlfriend tomorrow. We're gonna bake a bunch of shit.
And that's how you get okay with it, is that there's so many other cool things you can be doing.
Right.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because I think that that's a thing that when I talk with people that are coming up, they have these great anxieties as they recognize that what aspiration got them into the business isn't necessary. It's not necessarily practical. Like the idea of like, oh my God, I am going to go and be like fucking J.J. Abrams. And it's like, well, if you really dissect like the opportunities and the things that Abrams was surrounded by, that's not shit you and I are surrounded with. There's like, I'm not meeting Spielberg when I'm 14, you know, to get inspired that way and change my life. So like, why should I say I'm going to be like Abrams? And I think it takes some time and some distance to recognize.
Yeah.
You know,
of course, I want to be the next Harmony Korine.
Yeah.
You know? That's so, yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm fine with it. I live with it.
Right.
It ain't gonna happen. Well, you know, and like I'm just okay with that. I don't need to be fucking great.
Well, and here's the thing: is like I'm sitting here and we're talking on this.
I just want to be really good.
Yeah. Well,
I want to be good at what I do. Whatever.
And it's not like I sat and watched CNN when I was a kid. Go, motherfucker! I'm going to be Larry King, and now here I am. And no, it's just a thing that like shows up later.
Yeah, you figure it out.
You know, maybe you'll pull out your phone and start skateboarding and recording it, and you connect with people. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Right. It's whatever.
Okay, so we're like 30 minutes in. I thought this would be like 60 minutes. I feel like we've covered everything, right?